very nervous, and I don't have anything actually prepared, but I have a great book. So.
Okay, so I didn't shout it out loud enough, but I'll let you know when you have 10 seconds left. So expect me to be on 10 seconds.
Okay.
And go.
This is my book, House of Mirrors, and I wrote it in a Mexican prison cell in 1976. It is the story of all the Americans who were caught under President Nixon's Operation Cooperation and Operation Intercept. Americans were tortured in Mexico. They were denied their rights. I almost lost my daughter to a Mexican orphanage. And we worked and struggled with the help of Mexican revolutionaries. We organized throughout Mexico, and we introduced a piece of legislation which was actually the Prisoner Exchange Treaty, which is still in effect today. People are using it to come home from all over the world from prisons that are much harsher and come home to our own country. It still exists. I worked on it.
10 seconds.
And it's a great story, and I used it to come home to this country myself. First American off the plane. Nobody's ever told the story.
Wow, nice pitch.
I mean, just your first sentence,
Yeah.
it was just like, wow, you know, what is this story? And the one thing, this sounds amazing. It sounds like a story that hasn't been told, that has current relevance to it, everything. In terms of the pitch itself, first of all, you're telling a story about something that happened 30 years ago that many of us don't know even the historical context for. So you need to set that historical context right from the beginning, I think, to say, you know, what you were doing there, why you got arrested, how, you know, and how you got out. And then in terms of how it's relevant today, I might say talk about some major something in the news recently where this the Prisoner Exchange Treaty was used, so that we see how it is relevant. I think that would be really helpful, but it sounds like an awesome book.
Yeah, and nowadays we have such a short attention span as a culture. I can imagine a book, an agent or somebody going, oh, it's 30 years old. And so I think that to bring it into contemporary terms would be an important selling point for an agent or an editor or a rep. There was, toward the end of it, you said it's a great book. Now, I am always leery of people telling me, you know, it's a great thing, it's a funny thing. If someone says it's funny, I would rather have them make me laugh. You don't need to say it's a great book. You've already demonstrated that. I don't want someone to tell me it's scary. I want them to scare me. I don't want someone to say it's lyrical. I want them to wow me with their poetry. It's like those people that wear T-shirts that say sexy on them. Let me be the judge of that if you don't mind, you know? So I didn't think you needed that at the end. In a way, I felt like it undercut what you were doing.
Okay.
Do you have a title?
Yes,
Yeah.
House of Mirrors.
House of Mirrors, right, okay, good.
And that comes from a Mexican saying, soy espejo te reflejo, which means I'm a mirror, I reflect you.
Oh, that's great.
I might use that as the title.
I might use that as a title too. I think this is a...
Not the Spanish, but
But the translation, yeah.
translation.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds like a Charlize Theron movie waiting to happen to me, honestly. I think you have a fantastic
I did have
a story
a
here.
contract offer from William Morris
Yeah, I'm
and a
not
first
surprised.
option from 20th
Yeah,
Century.
I'm not surprised
I turned
at all.
them both down when I was 27 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
But now,
Yeah, I know I can actually relate. I did the same things in my 20s. I had a lot of overtures for earlier novels that people were basically just saying, if you could trim some fat from the middle, I could get this to editorial and we can move forward. And I was like, fuck you. You know what I mean? I thought it was just a rejection. I crumbled the letters up and threw them away. So I feel you there.
I didn't
Make
have an
this work to your
agent or a
advantage
lawyer,
now. Make it good that it
nobody
didn't happen
advised.
then. Now you make it happen now, and it'll be the best thing that ever happened because you'll be more prepared for it.
Yeah.
Because you probably just would have run your career into the ground if it had happened then anyway. I would have. Again, great opening. Just like Linda, I think you had a great opening. I'm just going to echo David on the great book. No superlatives about your own work. You're there to sell it. on a, you know, that could be a nervous habit too.
Yeah,
You just want
good,
to.
good.
One thing that this did have going for it in terms of art is that it went quick. It's just, you know, a minute's hard, but like at least we know that your experience, whatever it is, it's hard to gauge what it is beyond being in the cell and that amount of time. This is really tough. But it did lead to some sort of change or legislation, and you told us that. So this is an example of what I'm saying, how your story or how this experience of your book led to something. So it gives us a hint that there, you know, something happened here that was transfigurative in some way. So that was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this would be a really easy book for me to pitch to my buyers. The fact that it's never happened before, that it's never been talked about before or written about before, that's a big deal. I mean, when you're first to market with almost anything, right? I mean, you have a story to tell, you're going to frame that story, and people will start writing their version following
Hey, it's a
yours.
great book.
It sounds like it, and it's
It reminded me
fascinating.
a little of the movie with Jack Lemmon, where he goes looking for the kid that gets something, the lion.
In Argentina Missing, yeah. That's a wonderful movie, yeah. Yeah, and yet it is a story that's even closer to home. I think the time is really right now. Because of the tension that we're feeling with Mexico. And I just think, you know, the Prisoner Exchange Treaty, I mean, just the background, you feel smarter. I think if just knowing that much about it in cocktail conversation, people feel smarter to be able to even bring up the NPR version of that's a very good sign too. You know, I think people would be all over that one.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.